My name is Steve Smigala. I'm with Paris Kerwin Associates. I am one of the four owners here at the agency, and I've been here for many, many years, unfortunately, as you can tell by my gray hair. But today I've been asked to talk a little about small business insurance needs, wants, and desires. And I guess the most important point I can make to anyone from an insurance consumer standpoint is there's a lot of ads on television nowadays. Flow. You got some guy standing at the dock saying you get what you pay for what you need or some stuff like that. But the most important and single point of interest that I think you should take from this today is find someone you trust to be your insurance advisor. And I would highly recommend an independent insurance agency such as Paris Kerwin Associates. Someone who you can feel comfortable in telling the good, the bad, and the ugly of your business. Someone who you trust can make a positive recommendation, being insurance coverage wise, based on your financial situation. Every financial situation is different, and every insurance program that we develop for a business can be different based on someone's financial situation. I've also said to many people, insurance is boring. It's not sexy. It's not, the fast-moving tech world, but it is a very important aspect of your business that can help you sleep at night, offset risk, et cetera, et cetera. And that's basically what it is. It's a contract to offset risk based on your financial willingness to pay for that risk to be transferred to someone else, aka an insurance company with an insurance policy. And the best way for us to structure that risk transfer to that insurance policy is through a conversation where I understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, where you want to do it, who you want to do it with, and then I gather that information and then appropriately lay out a coverage program. So insurance coverages, there's many different things. Some of them I'll go through very quickly that I think we're all very familiar with. Some of them I'll spend a little more time on. I think getting the quick ones out of the way that everyone understands, because most people who own businesses probably also own a home, own an auto, and may obviously, and or rent someplace in a building. So covering property insurance is your physical assets, your home, your furniture, fixtures, or whatnot. Everyone understands what that is. You're transferring that physical asset risk to an insurance policy. So that's pretty simple. There's deductibles involved. An important aspect of that sometimes gets overlooked in the world of insurance is business income. If I'm not able to conduct my business at my physical location and I lose income, there is insurance for that. It's not just about covering the physical assets. So that's pretty cut and dry. The other example of insurance that I think is pretty simple to understand is automobile insurance. Everyone owns an automobile or has been in an automobile or has had parents that own automobiles. You have a physical asset of the automobile that you cover from a physical damage perspective, and then you have the liability exposure that is involved in owning and operating an automobile based on potentially bodily injury that may be caused by you in that automobile to someone else, aka causing an accident where someone physically gets injured in another vehicle, or property damage, same type of thing, but obviously not the individual getting hurt, but property getting damaged because of your actions and or negligence. So that's automobile insurance. That's pretty simple. If you have employees, workers' compensation insurance is very important. It is also required by law in the state of New York and many other states that if that employee is injured on the job, the insurance policy covers that individual employee. General liability insurance is also very important. General liability insurance covers your premises that you own and or operate from, and your product or service that you're providing for a fee to others for the same thing as automobile coverage, bodily injury or property damage. Quick examples of that: bodily injury. I make a chair. The chair malfunctions. Someone leans back in the chair, hurts themselves. my product caused bodily injury to someone else because it was malfunctioning in some way, shape, or form, and I am deemed to be negligent for that and responsible for it from general liability insurance. Premises is pretty simple, particularly here in the Northeast in Rochester. People slip and fall, and particularly in the winter months. I, as a owner of the building that I conduct my business in, is probably responsible for the sidewalk that leads up to my front door. For some reason there's ice there and whatnot, somebody slips and falls, I can be deemed negligent. I'm responsible for that premises from a bodily injury perspective. So that covers general liability insurance. General liability and automobile insurance primarily are written for $1 million limits. Those are deemed to be pretty standard in the industry. And the other standard aspect of the industry is wanting to buy higher limits than that. If your business is not new and has a history, and say you're doing $5 million in revenue and whatnot, you might want higher limits to cover your 10 vehicles and your $5 million in sales. You can buy an umbrella policy, which acts just like a physical umbrella is. It provides coverage over multiple other policies to provide you extra liability limits. The true terminology is umbrella liability coverage, which is additional liability limits over your general liability and your automobile liability. You find that quite often in the construction industry because of the hazardous nature of the work being done there and where it's being done. A lot of times in the transportation industry, you'll find the need for higher auto limits, and you can buy that through your umbrella coverage. A couple other things, I guess, that are a little more topic-oriented in today's world would be cyber liability insurance, employment practices liability. You turn on the TV, you turn on the satellite radio in your car, you're hearing ads nonstop for cyber liability type protection. There's kind of a saying in our business, the insurance business being, it's not if, it's when. It's not if you're going to be hacked, it's when you're going to be hacked. Cyber liability insurance been in the news a lot lately. 5 or 6 years ago, it was all about identity theft, because that's what the bad guys were doing on a more regular basis. Well, the bad guys have gotten a lot smarter, a lot more sophisticated. You hear about ransoms, about hacking, ransomware, introducing phishing schemes, spear phishing, all this IT technology that quite honestly is covered under a cyber liability policy if you have such an event. But kind of expanding on the insurance aspect of things, cyber liability I found is, I describe it to clients or potential clients as a kind of a three-legged stool to really be protected properly. There's the common sense protection of the things that obviously you don't put your password to your computer on a post-it note right on the computer screen. That type of common sense risk management that I would say is very important, and there's a lot, you can dive a lot deeper into that. That's one leg of the three-legged stool. Obviously the second leg is the world that I don't totally understand, but the IT side of things. Are you working with an outside IT consultant that is giving you the right advice and consultation that you trust, just like your independent insurance agent, to make sure that your firewall's set up on an appropriate manner, to make sure that multi-factor authentication is set up in an appropriate manner if you are working remotely, to sign into your system, to make sure that the software patches are updated from Microsoft and Google on a regular basis. Those are the avenues that the bad guys are using to get into a system, to gain access to information in your system, to lock your system up, to hold you ransom for a certain amount of Bitcoin, which is a terminology that obviously we all kind of understand nowadays that we probably didn't 2 years ago. But that cyber liability policy covers all of those things, which is the third leg of the stool to provide what I think is the best protection possible. Good common sense risk management, good solid IT protection from your IT consultant, and then a cyber insurance policy. That's the only way you're really going to be totally protected, subject to the deductible amount on your policy and your time to recreate if you do have an event occur that is negative from a cyber perspective. The other aspect of coverage that I think is important for any small business owner is another policy called Employment Practices Liability Insurance. Again, turn on the TV. Sexual harassment, wage and hour disputes, wrongful termination. Those are situations that are covered by an employment practices liability policy. A lot of times, that is for an employer and an employee from that relationship, but you can also add coverage for a third party, where that employee might harass a customer that comes in to your business location. That coverage is available. Also something I would consider extremely important if you're in the service business or if you're in the retail business. A lot of times, employment practices liability policies can be packaged with directors and officers insurance, something that's probably not extremely important to a small business, but if you're successful enough and your business grows and you have that advisory board or formal board, there's protection for those individuals as per the advice that they are giving you to direct your business on a daily basis that you may or may not choose to take. But that is another coverage that I think can be important as well. The last topic I'd kind of like to touch on coverage-wise is crime insurance. Crime insurance can be as simple as employee theft of funds, but it's also gotten very complex in the last couple of years with funds transfer fraud type coverage, and that's exactly what it sounds. Bad guy, instead of hacking into your computer network, may deceive you with an email to say that the CFO wants you to transfer these amount of funds from bank to client, and they intercept those funds, or it's a mythical location that they are asking you to transfer the money to, and obviously they take it. There's some gray area in between cyber insurance and that type of crime coverage, but something that I think is important to think about as well, and or listen to the trusted advisor that you've selected to handle your insurance program. That type of advisor you should probably be meeting with on a semi-annual basis, quarterly basis, whatever your comfort zone is, to talk and explain to them new things that I'm thinking about doing within my business, or this happened, am I covered for that? So in conclusion, I'd also like to say that you certainly can reach out to us through our website, through our social media platforms. We are available to help. Anyone who would like to sit down and have a conversation, we are more than ready, willing, and able to do that. And we look forward to possibly discussing your business needs in the future. Thanks.